Hello everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I have a not sponsored mailbag from Temu. I was playing around with the app and I saw they had this thing where basically you could get a bunch of things on discount if it was your first order, and so I exclusively chose from that list, and we will see what we got. It got here pretty quick. I feel like it took like maybe a week and a half. Let me pull this stuff out and we'll see what we got. So I just looked it up and I paid $30.35 or something like that for all this stuff. Now the prices on the invoice are a little hard to figure out because I got various discounts and they don't always show that per item. So I'm going to try to tell you as close as possible to what I paid for these various things. I'm going to try to go in the order that I have on the invoice above my head. So that means that we will start with these washers. I thought this was kind of nice. This is a selection of washers that I got for $5. If you've ever been to the Home Depot little section where you can get the little bagged hardware, you might get 4 or 10 washers depending on the size for, I think they're up to like $1.30, $1.40 now, and I got this entire box of them. They're metric, but that doesn't particularly matter. I got the entire box of them for just under $5, like $4.88, somewhere in that range. And so got some various sizes all the way down from teeny tiny, what are they, M.2 or M2, all the way up to M12 washers. And just pull one out. So I mean, they're not, you know, I mean, they're decent, nothing. I mean, they're a washer. They've got reasonable size holes in them, which is always an issue. Sometimes like washers like this, like I would prefer to have the hole a little bit smaller because I'm usually trying to fill a gap with a screw or something like that. But overall, this looks like this will do the job. And I think this is the most expensive item that I got in the entire thing. Now this looks like absolute crap. This is a 127 piece of heat shrink that I paid just under $1 for. And I do appreciate them breaking it down by size. I thought it was all going to be kind of more together. But I tend to use the double wall fancier heat shrink, and this is definitely not that. It's all black. Let's see what we have here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sizes here. 127 pieces total. Obviously various amounts per. Now I'm guaranteeing that this stuff is 2-to-1 heat shrink and not 3-to-1, but it's definitely not double wall, and there's definitely not adhesive in the middle of it. But that said, I mean, it should stop a couple of wires from shorting together. Let's take a look. All right, so I grabbed just a random piece of wire here. This is definitely a thinner wall heat shrink that I'm used to, but I'm gonna go ahead and shrink it. If you notice, I put it partially on the wire. I'm gonna shrink it. I've got this Tack Life portable gun I like a lot. So as you can see, I put it partway on there so I could see both how far it would shrink down and how much it did. And let's just see if it wants to slide off. I mean, it doesn't slide off. This stretch is okay. Well, I guess it did slide all the way off. So some adhesive would be handy in there. But overall, I mean, it will get the job done on little crappy things like this. Not happy, not upset. Next up, I paid the princely sum of just over $4 for this USB 3.1 dongle. Highly doubt this thing is going to work on my wife's MacBook. I just got a new MacBook Pro, but I thought, you know, this was kind of interesting. It's one of these things that's got a USB-C pass-through, HDMI, and USB 3.1 apparently. So just kind of a nice little dongle for video out if your computer doesn't have that. Now, the one thing, USB-C and video are really weird. Like, not everything is Thunderbolt, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be Thunderbolt to do video out. So there's just a lot of weirdness to know if this is going to work. I will let you know. I've got a B-Link mini PC up top over there that I will check and let you know if it works on the mini PC. And then I also have a computer that has Thunderbolt. I'll let you know if it works on that. And then finally, I'll let you know if it does video out on my wife's MacBook. Next up, I bought this one fully because of the brand name. This is a 64 gigabyte Lenovo's, apparently. Lenovo micro SD card, and it is a U3, which is supposed to be really fast, and 64 gigs, which is plenty for the types of things that I do. It's rated 100 megabits per second. I'll probably have to put these things through some separate tests. I paid $1.30, it looks like, for this card. So at $1.30, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my chances. But I will fill this thing with data. I've got some full images that I can burn, and in the event that this thing causes me any problems, I'll let you know, and I'll put it up on the screen. The thing I was actually kind of most excited about does not feel very heavy, which is, a little disappointing, but it is another one of these digital calipers. And I just like to have them around the office. I have one of them in particular that's a metal one that's it's a vintage Harbor Freight one, and so it doesn't kill the batteries like a lot of these do. But I decided that I would get another one because I always have them around the office. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, now that's interesting. I wonder, some of these things have little output. I can't really tell what's going on there. That could just be a hole, but some of them are designed to do some kind of output where you can use a different kind of display or something like that. But overall, that is a very clear display, and these things are pretty much what you see is what you get. As you can see, there's a little bit of play there on the jaws at the end, but for my purposes, doing some stuff in Tinkercad, just having some extra of these laying around, so that you can know that something is negative 0.0 millimeters, because that's a thing. Having these extra things around is kind of handy. So I like the ones that are metal, if nothing else, because I always stick them on my magnetic bars around the office. But without having that, I'm perfectly fine with with this composite one now. So let's see. So we've got 0.0, and then we've got negative 0.0. So there's obviously some kind of rounding going on here. If I release the pressure, can I get it to just say 0.0 again? Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. But anyway, for my purposes in Tinkercad, this thing will do fine. And I paid a grand total of around $3.50, it looks like, for this thing. So I'm not going to complain about that. And I will turn it off and try to save that precious battery. I do want to make a correction as I see this other one. This is also supposed to be a Lenovo. And it says Lenovo right there. Doesn't look like it says Lenovo anywhere on the card, although that could be it in some Asian language, I'm assuming Chinese. But so I paid, what is it? I paid like $1.30 for this one, and I paid $2 for this one. So $2 for the 64 gig, and this is a 32 gig, and I paid about $1.30 something for this one. So I'm going to put this through a test. Also, I've got a RetroPie I'm going to build, and that's kind of a good test because it does some writing, it does some reading, and generally taxes the SD card enough to where if I'm going to kill it, it's going to show me right away. One more in the memory card factory. This is a generic 64 gig card, and to be is it 64? Yeah, 64. So this is really dumb. I guess it was just because it was I took a chance on it, but I paid $2.80, $2.70 on this one. This is just another 64 gig, and these two are U3. And then this is a U1, so it should be a relatively fast card, assuming it even lives up to its speed rating. But this one was a little bit more than this one, which normally I would have paid a little bit more for the fake Lenovo than the fake Transcend or whatever that was supposed to be. But it does have a brand name written at the top. What does it say? Mid-Rock 5, Mid-Rock Sive, something like that. So anyway, you don't care about SD cards. I don't care about SD cards. But you might care about this. This is a multimeter that I paid a grand total of about $4 for. So this is a multimeter, the cheapest one I saw on there, and figured to open it up. And let's see what we got. Well, for one thing, we've got an owner's manual that says operator's instruction manual in English. So we've got kind of a full set of instructions, and yeah, I mean, it looks reasonable. Whoa, it's an Aing. Look at this. This is an Aing DM850. Now, I have a soft spot for Aing because back in the day, you could only, meters were expensive, and eventually they released the Aing 8008 meter, and it was a cheap meter that ran something like 20 bucks, 15 or 20 bucks. And it was sort of what in my mind kicked off the cheap accessible multimeter wars that have been going on for the last couple of years, that have been brought to us by people like Kaiweets and Aing and all these other companies that are doing this stuff. Now this one feels about as cheap as you can get. It's hard plastic, but it got features. So it's not fully auto ranging, which I kind of like when I'm working on this kind of stuff. Like to set the range. So we have the, let me say, I like it in certain circumstances when I'm doing certain things and I don't want my display jumping all over the place. So we have resistance, we have DC amps, we've got milliamps, HFE, I always forget what that one is. We've got voltage, we've got our voltage AC, voltage DC, and then we have NPN and PNP transistor holding. And then I think there's something, so yeah, we've got the beeping. Does this one have temperature on it? No temperature. High frequency, I always forget what that is. HFE, but anyway, it's got that, and it does not come with any kind of meters, and it comes with about the cheapest set of probes. Ooh, even a different probe tip if I'm not mistaken. But it comes with some cheap probes that will get the job done. I mean, I probably wouldn't use this on mains voltage very often, but could be one I can keep in my van. It could be one that I could, just use for various DC applications, or it might even be a gift, and it was $4. And last but not least, from my Temu haul, we have another Lenovo thing, and these are Lenovo Think Plus headphones. And so these things I paid a lot for. I really paid up at about $6.50 for a pair of these headphones. And to be honest, I have had some bad luck with these kinds of headphones. I don't know, maybe it's just all the time I spent doing sound, but I've always perceived a little bit of a difference in timing between the left and the right headphone on things like this. So, they're both two independent Bluetooth transceivers, and so it's just been a thing where I've found that, like, when I'm on my bike or something like that, I can hear the left one just a tiny bit before the right one, and it messes with my head. But it is the typical kind of individual case where the case will charge them and all that kind of stuff. And so at $6, I figured I could make a baller purchase on here, and I'll let you know if they absolutely suck. So anyway, this was my Temu haul. I had to give it a shot. I might look through the app a little bit for some specific things, but for the heck of it, I took a chance at the first time buyer discount, and this is what I got. Let me know what you think. Have a great day.